It's an NBA playoff 7-game series. How do you read what Utah was able to pull off in Houston last night, David?
Well, I think Utah matches up as well with Houston as anybody does, right? I mean, if you look at the Rockets, one of the biggest advantages they have over most teams is Clint Capella in the middle. I mean, he's just been sensational all season. He is great in the screen and roll at both ends, whether it's offensively or defensively. His rim runs space the floor. His presence spaces the floor. And I think having a guy like Gobert in the middle takes some, not all, but takes a lot of that away and a lot of that advantage away for Houston at both ends of the floor again. I mean, Gobert obviously is an outstanding defensive player. The numbers the Rockets have with him on the floor defensively this season are insane. So that's one thing. And then you add the ability to make shots, which Utah has. You start with Ingles, but now you have Mitchell in there also who can make shots. And I always thought Jay Crowder in big games was a very, very good shot maker, right? I mean, he seems to rise to the occasion. So they have that. Now, not having Rubio is a problem and will be a problem for Utah. At least last night, I thought Eisen played pretty well and did a good job. That will be a problem as the series goes on, though, the longer that Rubio's out.
So now that home court goes to Utah, and now James Harden, the beard, has to face Mitt Romney and the rest of that crew there. How do you see Houston digging deep here, David, now that they are and also, look, Chris Paul has, I'm sure he's sick of hearing it, never made it to a conference finals. Never. And now he needs to come up with one win in Utah to try and have a chance to do that with Houston.
Right. I don't think it's, look, I think Houston's a better team. I think Houston will win the series. I certainly don't think it's outside of their talent level to win a game in Utah. It's difficult because Utah's real good at home, but not impossible. But, yeah, look, Utah's playing with a lot of confidence, as they should. They're playing with house money. Nobody expects them to beat Houston, so they can play free and kind of loose and easy. So from that standpoint, I think it will be, as I said, difficult, but not impossible for Houston to win a game on the road and take it right back and finish the series in 6, maybe 7 games. But, yeah, I mean, I think that they'll be fine. They've been, if not the best defensive team in the league, one of the 2 or 3 best defensive teams in the league all season. As long as they come back to that, if they get back to that, I think they'll be fine. They did not play with a whole lot of energy at either end last night, and it cost them. So
before we turn the page to the rest of the playoffs, and including the series you're doing with Marvin Seaweb, now that's moved to New Orleans, you've seen so much basketball, DA, in your time with ESPN, Washington Post, and more. Can you place in perspective what we're seeing out of Donovan Mitchell right now? It's
special. It is, as good of big game rookie performances as I've seen in some time. You go back to Magic and those guys who played at that level when they were rookies. Michael did it his second year with the 63 in Houston, 63 against the Celtics. So you've certainly seen it from the greatest players. It's unusual just because the pedigree of Donovan Mitchell did not suggest that this is what he was going to be capable of. In all fairness to him, and I mean, just in all due respect to him, that was not what the thought process was on him coming out of Louisville last year. I mean, most NBA scouts that I talked to thought, hey, this, he has a chance to be a good player. Has a chance to be maybe a real good player, but I don't think anybody saw this. And it changes the trajectory of a franchise when you get a player with this kind of impact where the Jazz drafted him. So it just makes it gives them possibilities that they may not have thought of before. He has been spectacular. He is not shirking from the moment. He is embracing the moment and still playing at the level that he's been at all year. It's very unusual, and tribute to the kid. He's been awesome.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.